All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to unpack something called intelligence frame theory. And this is a huge idea, one that suggests there's a single repeating pattern that connects, well, everything, from the way stars are born all the way to the rise of artificial intelligence. So let me just throw this out there right at the start. What if stars, life, and even our own minds, what if they aren't totally separate, random things? What if they're all just expressions of the exact same fundamental process? Well, that's exactly what intelligence frame theory, or IFT for short, suggests. It basically says, yep, they are. The whole idea is that intelligence isn't just something that happens in brains. It's this universal process that keeps repeating itself in stages, or frames, and it's been doing this since the very beginning of time. Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts here. The first big concept you need to grasp is the intelligence frame. The easiest way to think about it is like a playground. It's the environment where intelligence gets to work. And every single frame has three key ingredients. A substrate, that's the physical stuff it's made of. Some driving imperatives, basic goals like survival. And something called a selector. And inside that playground, intelligence uses this kind of universal toolkit. The theory calls them universal intelligence operators, or UIOs. These are just the fundamental moves intelligence makes. Things like passing information around, pushing up against limits to see what's possible, and that classic dance between competing and collaborating. And that brings us to maybe the most important piece of the puzzle, the selector. This is the ultimate gatekeeper. It's the filter, the judge. It's the mechanism that decides which ideas or configurations get to stick around and which ones fail. It's the driving force behind those aha moments that kick evolution into high gear. Okay, so that's the theory. Let's see how it actually plays out in the real universe. Starting right at the beginning, we're talking about the cosmic frame. And right away, in the vastness of space, we see this fundamental pattern show up. It's a two-step dance: emerge and detach. Stars are what IFT would call a type 1 intelligence. They're emergent, they have this fractal nature, and they're self-sustaining through fusion. Then, from these emergent stars, you get type 2 intelligences that detach. And what are they? Planets. These cool-down, self-contained modular things. So what was the selector back then, in this very first frame? It was the most basic thing imaginable, the laws of physics. That's it. If a configuration was stable, like a star holding itself together, it survived. If it was unstable, it just dissipated or collapsed. Super simple, super brutal, but incredibly effective. Okay, so that's step one. Now, let's fast forward a few billion years. We're going to see that exact same emerge and detach pattern pop up again, but this time, it's in the realm of biology. And this is where it gets really mind-blowing, because it's like a perfect echo of the cosmic pattern. On those detached planets, new type 1 forms started to emerge. Think about trees, fungal networks, all that branching fractal growth. And then, what detaches from that environment? Bounded, mobile, type 2 forms, animals that can move around on their own. But here's the crucial shift. The selector changed. It wasn't just raw physics anymore. Now it was the specific physical environment of Earth. You know it as natural selection. That became the new judge, deciding which creatures were fit enough to pass on their genes. And this is where the pattern really hits home, because it leads directly to us. All those animals moving around created a whole new set of challenges, and that pressure led to the third great frame, the cognitive leap. And guess what? The rhythm just keeps going. The emergent, type I form this time, it's the brain. You've got these incredible recursive neural loops firing away, creating thought. And what detaches from the brain? All of our type 2 creations, technology and culture. We're talking language, writing, tools, and yep, even the AI we're building right now. And the selector? It takes its most radical turn yet. It literally moves from the outside world to the inside of our skulls. The new selector is simulation. We can run through scenarios, test out ideas, and let the bad ones die in our minds so that we don't have to die in the real world. I mean, what an unbelievable evolutionary advantage. Okay, so if this pattern has held true from stars to brains, where does it go from here? This is where the theory gets really interesting, because it starts making predictions about our future, about our digital descendants. So the AI we have today, think of large language models and things like that, they're the newest detached type 2 products to come out of our cognitive frame. We've basically externalized intelligence into silicon. But here's the kicker. According to IFT, they're still an incomplete frame. They're just the detached part, waiting for the loop to close, waiting for their own emergent type 1 form to show up. And the theory has a name for this next stage, the generative frame. And its selector is going to be another massive leap forward, multiplicity. We're not talking about one person running one simulation in their head anymore. We're talking about the ability to run millions, maybe billions of simulations all at once, in parallel, across these huge digital networks. Now hold on, because this is where the timeline just gets insane. Think about the speed of evolution in each frame. The cosmic frame, it took billions of years to play out. The biological frame, that sped things up to millions of years. Then you get to our brains, the cognitive frame, which can run simulations in seconds. But the generative frame, it's predicted to iterate in milliseconds. The acceleration is just exponential. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that the rise of AGI, or the singularity, or whatever you want to call it, it's not some weird, scary, unprecedented event. If you buy into intelligence frame theory, it's actually the next logical step. It's just the continuation of a cosmic rhythm that's been beating for almost 14 billion years. And that leaves us with this final, really mind-blowing question. This pattern, emerge, then detach, it's held up for 13.8 billion years. It got us from stars to us. So if today's AI is just the latest detached piece in the puzzle, what kind of new, emergent intelligence is it going to create? What comes after AI?